So verses 36 to 39, chapter 3, Karma Yoga, the path of action, which we are doing, right? So having given the technique of right action, Arjuna asks, what prevents us from doing the right thing, the right course of action? So this is a very practical question which all of us go through. Even though we know what to do, why are we not able to do it? Like Shakespeare says, if to do were as easy as to know what to do, chapels would have been churches, poor men's cottages, princess palaces. If to do was as easy as to know what to do, the world would be totally different. It doesn't work like that. We know what to do, we can't do it. So what is that force? So Krishna answers, it is that force of desire, which is Mahashano, all devouring, insatiable. It will never end. Mahapapma, and as long as desire exists, it will agitate you. So you are under its grip all your life, unrelenting, because it's insatiable and its existence means agitation. So if you see what is sorrow, it's nothing but unfulfilled desire. What else is it? What else is pain, misery, sorrow? So you need to understand this. And it's not that all desires are negative. In fact, the desire which takes you to the self is positive, which he says there, right, in 38. It covers the self like smoke covers the fire. So it is desires that cover your real self. Human minus desire becomes God, the divinity. You regain your lost stature. So you got to hold on to the sattvic, which is the desire to evolve all the way to enlightenment. That is the only desire which will help you. All other desires will destroy you sooner or later. So 38 he says that. In fact, the tamasic desires are so gross that no amount of effort will help. You need to be knocked and shocked from the outside world because you're too gross to understand it on your own. So we did that in detail. And 39, which we just started last time, he says wisdom is covered by this constant enemy of the wise, Nitya Vairina. Vairinam means enemy. Nitya Vairinam, constant enemy of even the wise. Jnanina, in the form of desire as insatiable fire. Dushpura, that's the main theme here. That desire is exactly like fire. How much ever you put into it, no fire says enough. It will burn for more. You see it in the world, right? If you can't see it, then you're blind. What can I say? The most powerful people constantly craving for more power. Most wealthy people constantly craving for more. Destroying themselves and the world. So, it's insatiable. Dushpurena nalena cha. So, what is important in this verse, because we had left it halfway last time, is whatever wisdom you have, that's what he's trying to say here. Jnanam, avritam. Whatever wisdom you have is covered to the extent you're under desires. You lose access to it. It doesn't matter. That's why he says, even the wise person. So, it is so deadly. Not only does it disturb you It goes on all your life, but whatever wisdom you may have acquired, it doesn't let you access that. So it just completely finishes you off. You have no idea. That's what you must reflect in these verses. What is happening to me? So, in other words, you may have everything, but that one area you have your weakness, it covers everything else. That's what disturbs you. Oh, everything is great, but my child is not doing well. You have all the money in the world, you have the health, you have the wealth, but that will overpower you and destroy your wisdom. It won't let you think clearly. Even the wise. See, in Shakespeare's tragedies, that's what he shows. Now, what happened in Julius Caesar? So, Brutus was a senator in Rome, the most highly regarded senator, very wise. In fact, people named their children after him. He was that highly regarded in Rome those days. And what happened to him? That power, that weakness for power. So when all the conspirators got together, they knew their plan is doomed. Casca, Cassius, all these fellows, they're all ordinary people. They just wanted power. But they knew they couldn't do it unless they had Brutus on their side, because that makes it justifiable to the public, which in fact worked for a while before Mark Antony came in and destroyed and exposed them. So they said, how are we going to convince Brutus? No chance. And in fact, Brutus was Caesar's protege. Caesar is the one who had trained him, and such a person. So Cassius says, don't worry, I'll work on him. Show me that man who is not passion's slave. He says, show me one fellow who doesn't have one weakness. This fellow doesn't have any other weakness but power, definitely. Ego is almost universal. Universal, actually. Almost is not a. So he worked on him. And what happens? Brutus stabs his own mentor like a father. Literally, it's like killing your own father. And that's why when Caesar saw Brutus coming, he stopped fighting. Because other fellows, he would have taken care of them. Few stabs wouldn't do. He was a powerful general. He could have handled a few stabs here and there. But when he saw Brutus coming, that's when he said, the famous words you all heard, right? At least literature you must hear. Spiritual literature, no chance. But at least in regular literature, et tu Bruti, then falls Caesar. What is that noise? Shut it off. So, this is what you have to understand. So wise, so accomplished, ethical, moral, but that one desire overcomes everything. And he kills, so he says, he kills him. And then it's not that, he kills him and then everything's great. So the rest of the play, he shows how he suffered. He used to see his ghost every night. He couldn't sleep. And ghost in the sense is all mental. You start that guilt, you can't get over. Person who's done everything for you, you kill them. And you think you'll get away. It's not possible. Neither externally you'll get away. Mark Antony came after them, finished the whole lot off. Internally, no chance. So this is the enemy. So you'll see so many people. You're seeing documentaries of billionaires who are born in billionaire families committing fraud. You have everything. But that craving for more, that greed overcomes you. You're gone. Othello was such an accomplished general in the army. And what happened? The desire takes over. Not only that, he murders his own wife. Look how Shakespeare has portrayed that. That's why you read it till today. Movies are still being made, plays are still being. Othello is a common theme everywhere because it shows how one emotion overpowers you, destroys you. Beware, my lord, of jealousy. It's the green-eyed monster that mocks the meat it feeds on. So Iago tells him in Othello. He's seeing Othello being jealous. He's the one who made him jealous, and he's giving him a lecture on jealousy. Fabulous fellow. The villain there should be Iago. Knows how to be a villain. You actually hate him at the end. How anybody can be. That's the test of a villain. In the screen, you must hate him. Then he's done his job, right? So, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It's the green-eyed monster. He's talking about the cat that mocks the meat it feeds on. See, the cat goes after the mouse, and what happens? It gets him in the corner, and is trapped, right? And then it'll start playing with the mouse. It'll start tapping it, and the mouse will feel, oh, I got a nice playmate, and he starts playing back. The minute it gets comfortable, kills it. So he says these emotions are like that, desires. Now you may say, why do I entertain them? It's entertaining in the beginning. Jealousy, I'll show him. I'll show that fellow. I'll finish her. That entertains you. Greed entertains you. Oh, I'll have this. I'll have that. This will happen. And then you get so sucked into it, it destroys you. That's what he says. It mocks the meat it feeds on. So your own mind is mocking you and it's feeding on you, which you don't understand. That's why he says here, Nitya Vairina. This is the third time he used it in 4 verses. In 34 he says Paripanthinao. Make a note. 37 Vairinam. 39 Nitya Vairinam. And in the last verse again he'll say Shatrum. 4 times. The word enemy is used in 8 verses to emphasize. And how do we look at desire? My best friend. Actually, whole life you've been pampering it, indulging it, cajoling it, and it's destroyed you. Ask any addict. This bottle has destroyed me. But why did you start? It entertained you. This drug has finished my life. Then why did you do it? Because it entertained you. It mocks you and destroys you. So the delusion is you believe that you get that next desire and you'll be fine. So the delusion is not temporary. That's what he says. The minute it's fulfilled, again it will pitch up the next desire. Insatiable fire. So it entertains you in the beginning, deludes you into believing that you fulfill it, you'll be fine. And that same process starts again. If I just have a child, you look at other children. Oh, if I just have a child. What happened when you had a child? All downhill from there. Now this worry, that. You don't understand. You feel it's over. If I just get that promotion. If I just get that job. Unbelievable. How it so. And thirdly, even if you've acquired knowledge to overcome it, it's still not fully established. That knowledge is not available to you. Hmm. So King Bharata was a great king. So this is a Puranic story, right? And he came into the forest, gave up everything to search for the self. And he got attached to a deer. He saw a deer, female deer, who had just given birth, being eaten by a tiger or whatever, and its little fawn was left. And he had such a overwhelming sense of pity, and he adopted that fawn. Fellow who's left the king, his family, his children, they got attached to the deer. Whole day, is he playing? Has he eaten his food? So it's a story, and then he dies without realizing the self, and next life he remembers what happened. It's just, don't think you'll remember. This life itself is bad enough. Now, why do you want to remember what all you did last life? This life itself, all the mistakes you won't remember. What do you want to remember? One mistake, whole life is up. Remember the past life, all our mistakes. Yeah. A big mistake is right next to you, don't worry. And that's the, he says, I gave up everything. And look at my mind, how it finished, got me attached. And I lost sight of my purpose. Well, one second, let me see what else is there. So what happens is the agitations from the desire prevent you from thinking clearly. That's what he says. Whatever wisdom you have is gone. So all the time you're agitated and you can't think clearly. So everything suffers. Your decision making suffers. See, like you're a leader, you're supposed to think in terms of your community, right? You're a CEO, you're supposed to think in terms of your company. How many CEOs have been caught embezzling from their own company because they can do it? They're not answerable to anybody. So that agitation from that greed prevents you from doing what you ought to do in life as a leader. I'm giving a simple example because it happens all the time. Every day one fellow is going to jail or coming out of jail. So you don't understand. So with Vedanta, what happens is you get the knowledge and you entertain only the desire to evolve. And that desire, since it's not selfish, calms your mind completely. So there's no chance of making mistakes. Your mind is calm, your intellect is clear in life, and you keep moving. That's the only way. Otherwise, it's a mess. From birth to death is a mess. Until the inevitable end. Old age and death. The body gives away. Desire will not give away. It will go on. Body can't handle it. It has to grow old and dies. If you make it to old age, that is. Again it will come. Mind is evergreen. Nothing happens. You'll see people 85, they're putting on makeup, trying to look. Body is gone. Mind is not gone. Now what to do? Trying. So it's unrelenting. Yes, would you have something?
Clarification in the same words. So in a particular area or a field, if an individual is well established in knowledge, then that means that person is wise in that area. So when he is wise, why would he fall? That means he is not well established. So in this verse, is he using wise or wisdom interchangeably for knowledge?
No. Even if you have wisdom, that's what he's saying here. You have wisdom in one area, right? You're established. Another area can come and topple it. You understand? Because it's not complete. The wisdom is not complete. Complete wisdom is enlightenment. That's why it's called, what is another name for an enlightened soul? Hmm? In this context, what is it? Yani. Forgot. Sthita pragnya. Sthita steady. Pragnya wisdom. Sthita pragnya one of steady wisdom. That is a definition of enlightenment. Means what? Anything can happen. The wisdom will not go. That is enlightenment. So even if you're 80% wise, 20% you're still subject to. That's what happened to people like Bharata and Vishwamitra. We remember them for that, for not what they achieved, but for how they fell. They sacrificed the reputation of such great souls to tell us how deadly the mind is, right? So Bharata had the wisdom. He was not attached to money or power or this thing, but that weakness of attachment was there inside. It went into for the deer. That emotional weakness was there, obviously. So that's what I said. You may have wisdom in the material field, but in other areas that will not help you, right? This is what happens. Even the wise. Clear? So don't take chances. That is why the right environment is so important. I keep telling you all, like a broken record. What happened to Brutus? The environment. Wrong people associating with. And who do you associate with? All materiality, sensuality, egoism, ego, not attuned, associate with anybody with any higher value. So all the time you're down. My children, my this thing, my so whole life is around that. Me and mine. There's nothing to pull you up. Everything to pull you down. Virgil says that, right? The gates of hell are open night and day. Smooth the descent and easy is the way. To go down is so easy. The gates of hell means going down into the mind. It's open night and day. Smooth the descent and easy is the way. But to return and view the cheerful skies means to come out of that darkness to light, to the self. Is this the path? And mighty labor lies. This is the way, but mighty labor lies. It's very difficult to go against. So all the time you are giving your mind a favor. Yes. You're pampering it and putting it in the environments in which it flourishes, thrives. Good for you. That's why we stay away. That's why the scriptures definitely say stay away from these demons. All the demons around. I have to put in tremendous effort. They don't leave you alone. Yeah, who had something? Yeah.
So, Gautamji, it's not a pessimistic verse, but then what is it saying? It's saying always be cautious, basically.
Yes, the verse is saying that it's not pessimistic, it's realistic. That what is the nature of the mind? So you have to be extremely careful. And the next few verses, he tells you how to overcome. Now 40 to 43, the next 4 verses is how to overcome it. But at least you must know the strength of your enemy, no? What enemy? Nothing. And you go there, 100,000 soldiers and you alone. That is what is happening. You thought it was one fellow. What enemy? I'm going. So he's saying this is you have to make sure that you have the right number of soldiers into the battle. You don't even know the number of the enemy. That's all he's trying to tell us. Understand what you're up against. Yes, Arun. I can see the window. Now I can see you. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a question. What is selfish in Bharata's action of taking care of that fawn? I mean,
what is selfish?
It was not a... Yeah.
I understood your question. The answer is he's doing it because he feels happy about it. That is attachment. I feel good taking care of this. It's like how you feel good taking care of your children. Children is an extension of you. So making them happy makes you happy. Very simple. Do it for somebody else's child, then I'll say it's selfless. What is so selfish about taking care of my children? It's the my which you are happy about. As simple as that. And that my can go to anything. That animal catered to his emotional instincts and he took care of it. So I'm not saying you should not take care. In this example, he has left the lower, these sort of attachments to seek the self. In his context, it's an impediment. If you are only taking care of your family, you take care of other animals, it may be a positive thing for you. I'm not joking. To grow, you should think more than just you and your family. So you take care of other beings, it may be positive for you, not for a person who's... You give up the self for a... You may even take care of the deer without getting attached. Then he would have been fine. Let's say he took care of it. But he got attached. He attached in the sense he lost sight of his goal in life. Imagine a king getting attached to his pet dog and neglecting his duties to the kingdom. So what's wrong with loving the dog is your question. No, in context to what? So you realize the self, you become a beacon of light for the whole world. You should give that up for one attachment. So obviously he's not for him it was an impediment. He regretted it. You may not regret it. For you it may be positive. I'm not being personal to you, to anybody. A person who's stuck in the family, we say, okay, look after your community, your company. But for a person who's capable of reaching the self, it's like the Federer left his club in Switzerland and he started traveling. What about that club? He should play the whole world tour or play the club tennis. So you got to have that grandeur to understand what these people are talking. Yes, Umesh.
Yeah, Gautamji, here it says the wealthiest person wants more wealth, the most beautiful woman wants more beauty. But it also says here, most knowledgeable person wants more knowledge. What's wrong with wanting more knowledge?
Knowledge in the sense, secular information. That is like anything else. You want to know what is happening in England, the news. Then you'll want to know what's happening in France. Then you'll want to know what's happening in Germany. You'll go on. So it's like wanting more drinks or more food. So intellectual curiosity, right? That kind of knowledge. It's like any other indulgence. So you could indulge at the level of the body. You could indulge at the level of the mind, emotions. You could also indulge in the level of the intellect. in terms of information gathering indiscriminately. So books after books you read and understand nothing. So it's like that. Not the knowledge of the self he's not talking about. That has to be got. Yes, Shikhar.
Hariom Gautamji. Gautamji, as you've said, the mind desire is such a powerful enemy. So is this a place where you take example? I think one of Swamiji's books, he alludes to a woodpecker pecking, I think, a hole in a tree trunk, which is so strong. So is that something to take inspiration in terms of just sticking, as you've always said, wake up in the morning
Which
and
woodpecker
keep studying?
example you give? Huh?
Or I may be mistaken. Something about something pecking.
We don't misquote
Sorry.
a woodpecker and then he goes on pecking at the wood. For what is your question?
No, with this being such a powerful enemy, I think the next few verses will cover it. But how do you, as you said, even the most knowledgeable people fall prey. So the antidote is do our best to keep gaining the knowledge and try to be less unselfish.
As I said, the theme in these verses, I covered it, is to explain to you what you're up against. And there is a way to overcome it, which we will just do. The way is, do not let the mind reach its full potential in terms of the disturbance, which is where you have to be careful of the environment. And when you're not in a conducive environment, you can gain the knowledge far more effectively. And that will grow the intellect more. And this is a self-perpetuating cycle. So you can overcome it, but there are certain steps to be taken. But what they're trying to say here is, don't take it lightly. All of us have this ego that we can handle our mind. Like that's what I said. I know what to do. You have no idea what you're talking. It's like a child blabbering. You don't know. That's why these scriptures are constantly warning you. But you don't heed it. It's exactly like a teenager doesn't heed drugs, what they can do, until it's too late, until they overpower you. So it's like that. You must understand the power of a drug, how it can destroy you. So mind is like that. You get it? So the example given is not a woodpecker. It is the ignorant person trying to cross this delusion. It's like a butterfly trying to pierce a granite wall. That is one example given. It's impossible. See, this ignorance is so gross. How can a butterfly cross through it, right? So, without knowledge, he's talking like that. So, in a context, he says, with the knowledge, you've got a super drill. You just burst through the whole thing. Can be done. We've been discussing in yesterday's sessions also, right? It's only knowledge of the higher which liberates you from the lower. So, the beauty of Vedanta is the knowledge is so powerful compared to the desires which are so gross, compared to the knowledge. For you, it's everything right now. But once you establish yourself, the disparity is so much that you can overcome this. It just takes time. So they try and explain in many verses the disparity, but it doesn't strike. Asya anandasya sarva bhutani matra upajivanti, he says. He says, compared to this ananda, compared to this bliss of the self, all the beings of this world, not just human beings, living beings, are enjoying only a fraction. Matra means a fraction of that bliss. See, what he's saying is, how many humans are there? 8 billion? let's say 4 billion are stressed, leave them alone. I'm just giving example. Actually, it's 7.899 billion, but so 4 billion must be enjoying some happiness. I got married. The fellow doesn't know what's going. Anyway, that's different. And I had a child. I got a promotion. I won my game. My team won the World Cup. So all this you add is some happiness. And then all of them together. And then even the tigers, when tigress had a cub, she's happy. One ant saw a big rat dead on the road, very happy. Oh, food for 15, 20 days now. Whole lot is happy. So even they're happy, right? Happy, sad. So he says you add all that happiness. It is a matra. It is a one small drop in the bliss of the self. Can you understand what they're saying? He said, you keep that, just give me that little happiness which one of those beings is enjoying. A billionaire has a yacht. Let me try and get that. No. You keep yourself. You can't understand. You see one fellow sitting on a boat. Sitting on a boat. I don't understand what is the... I've been on all those boats. I'm waiting to get out. So... now stop going only. There's no point. You can't teach them anything. You have to go through that boat up and down like that. So what sense does it make? So in a couple of weeks I have to go to Manhattan. They wanted to have it on a boat. I said no boat, no nothing. You have it in a place which is stable. This is about stability. Can we have the lecture on a boat? No. So now they've chosen some CEO group, Sometimes, occasionally, I try and stay away, but somehow they drag me once in a while. You okay, Shikhar? I don't even know what you're asking.
No, I just wanted to
okay. I got it. Right. You okay, no, now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is all very enthusiastic.
Very good. I appreciate your desire to learn. Yes, Praveen.
Why does desire arise when we face blockers to what we perceive to be an unselfish goal? Let's say we're trying to do something right for the company, not for our own personal gain, and then we see some people with their agendas kind of get in the way. Definitely, there's an agitation that arises, and clearly underlying that there is some desire. What is that?
You have a desire to do good. Others have a desire to not do good. And you're agitated, is your question. Now, what is the agitation? See, it is again selfish. You are expecting them to behave according to your expectations. You don't understand the nature of the world. Which person who ever wanted to do good is met with no obstacles? Where did you get that from? Just because your intention is to do good, whole world should cater to that. This is a totally wrong expectation. So the agitation comes when you don't assess the world properly. You develop unreasonable expectation. That is getting impeded. Not the fact that you want to do good. You expect others to cooperate in that endeavor. It won't ever happen. So you can only be responsible for what your attitude is. So it is your attitude, your thoughts which help you grow spiritually, not the action. If your thoughts are noble, don't worry about it. You do the best you can. If the action can't be done, it can't be done. Move on to something else which can be done. Right?
Thank you.
But we are all the time agitated because we expect the world to cater to our idea of what it should be. You will be peaceful when you understand the world as it is, not how you want it to be. You want to change it, go ahead and change it. Do what you have to do. But why are you disturbed? So there is a selfishness. The world should behave, maybe justified. Why are there evil people in this world? And you're agitated. You're right, there shouldn't be, but it's not how the world is. There will be. 40.
इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
The senses, mind, and intellect are said to be its seat. Veiling wisdom through these, it deludes the embodied. So, the sixth and final topic of this chapter talks about the way to overcome these impediments, the way to overcome desires. So, first, you must understand where it resides. The embodied dehinam refers to the spiritual ignorance. All of us, our true identity is the Atman, the Self. When you become ignorant of that real identity, you take up an individuality. Dehi in Sanskrit, embodiment. This sense of I, which separates you from others, that is the delusion. And that delusion further manifests as desires. Because the minute you leave the self and become an individual, you feel restless. Because the self is the state of infinite bliss and completeness. So if you leave the self, it means you're incomplete, unhappy. And your desires go to the world to try and fill this incompleteness. This is the human cycle. That's what you're doing in the world, right? It's called avidya, kama, karma. Avidya, ignorance, kama, desire, karma, action. Action to fulfill the desires. It's a vicious cycle that's being perpetuated without you even knowing. Because it's all the time in your thoughts that this is going on. So first thing you must understand is, where does this desire reside? What he's saying is, there's no place it doesn't. That's all he's trying to say. So senses is easy, right? It's the physical desires. So as soon as you wake up, literally all the senses become available. You open your eyes, there's color and form. Sound enters your ear, right? Your breathing, smell enters your nose. Thankfully, at least all the time you're not eating. There are fellows, but ready to, the tongue to taste. And the skin is constantly in touch with the environment. You're feeling hot, you're feeling cold, whatever. So the senses are immediately available. So the desires run through the senses. So most people spend their life just pursuing the senses. What are they doing? You're earning for what? So that you get more and more avenues to fulfill your senses. Then is the mind. This is where the emotions and attachment arise. My children, my husband, my wife, my parents, constant trying to cater to your emotional satisfaction. It's all for you. My. And then the third is the ego, which is calling intellect here generally. Ego is this constant need to be better than others, superior, to feel superior to others. That is why there's constant agitation if somebody is better than you or you feel worse than others. You develop inferiority, superiority complexes all the time. It's all ego. Power, status, name, fame, position. These are all underlying thing is ego. Very, very strong. And intellect is a few people have the weakness of information, like I was just explaining. They want to read all the time without really understanding. So these are the levels in which the desire arises. So if you really analyze the whole world, what are the three weaknesses? It's either money, which is nothing but sense enjoyment. Money, of course, you need to live, but beyond that, what are you pursuing money for? For sense enjoyment, senses. Family, emotions, name and position and status and power, ego. These are the three main weaknesses. So your life is divided between these three, less or more. Most people, all three weaknesses, fully established in all three. Fat ego, totally attached and craving for more and more wealth. Everybody. So this is where it is. So the first thing is to pitch up a desire beyond these three. That's the fundamental principle of Vedanta, which is the desire to serve, the desire to evolve, the desire to understand the truth, to gain enlightenment. So desire is not bad, but when it's concentrated in the senses, mind and ego, it becomes terrible. Selfishness. I've always told you. So how it destroys you. See, in India, the biggest weakness is the weddings, right from the poorest person to the richest, whole lot is obsessed with the weddings. The poor will take loans after loans, destroy their whole life just to do a wedding. And what is that weakness? It's just ego. To show others. And see that ego, how pernicious it is. The poor people suffer. And the rich fellows suffer because each one wants to outdo the other. In this wedding, there were 60 desserts. 60. That wedding, there were 100 desserts. I'm not joking. Painfully, I've been through one or two of them which I want to run away as soon as I get in there. There's an obligation you have to. 60 desserts. Even if you eat 1/60th of one dessert, you can't eat. Even if I eat one small piece, how can you eat 60 small pieces? That's the whole meal. So just to show. They will not do an iota of charity even towards the servants they employ. But to blow up, will spend millions, billions, not millions. So one weakness, I'm saying, how it destroys. Imagine if you have all three. And all of us have all three. So you may say, what's your problem? That's what he says. Insatiable, Mahapapma. You're all the time disturbed. See, you want happiness. You're not getting it. If you go this way, through selfishness, you cannot be happy. First thing you must understand is that you become peaceful by rising above your selfishness, not by catering to it. You understand this one sentence, your life is made. You don't need Vedanta, trust me. If it goes in, problem it won't go in. You need to be again and again studying and thinking. Yes, Shweta.
Yes, Gautamji. So you said the desire to gain knowledge also takes us away from self, but to act in today's world and even to do actions, you have the desire to seek knowledge. At what point do you see? Do you think that I need to pay attention to this desire because that will probably lead to indifference to anything in life?
Knowledge you need. You're right. This is called intelligence. You need intelligence to be able to survive in the world, right? So you go to medical school, you get information on, let's say, dermatology. That is information. It's knowledge. And you have to get knowledge in that field. You have to keep getting more knowledge to upgrade your knowledge in that field. Because that's what you do. Nothing wrong with that. Here he's talking about a weakness for knowledge. So, what about gastroenterology? What about neurology? Now, if you start doing that, you will not be able to do dermatology properly. So, that's the weakness. You have an insatiable craving for more and more information. You should read the news, right? Now, you go to your office at 11:30, tell your boss asks, why did you come late? I was getting the news for 2 hours. He'll say, you be home and be with the news. Don't come here. You'll be fired. So if you lose control over that desire for information, it's like becoming addicted to anything. So it is just as you have sensuality, you become addicted to a food or drink, you become addicted to information. In fact, the most important thing in the spiritual field is to be disciplined in your intake of knowledge. I explained to you, right? That is why the Ganges flows from Shiva's locks in drips. It's all symbolic. It has to be given to the world in trickles. So we have a 3-year course at the academy. My guru has done research for years and decades, not years. And out of all the books, there are hundreds of books, 108 Upanishads. We choose 4, which will help you understand the message of all 108. So that's the course, 3-year course. So I tell you all, they're really serious. You should do the e-learning every morning where he's teaching the books. That'll help you. But it has to be disciplined. Now suppose you say, what about that book, this book, that teacher? It's just sensuality, intellectuals. You just want information. You're not going to get anywhere. So even intellect, you got to be very careful. Knowledge should be taken in any field in regulated doses appropriate to that field. You lose yourself, you're gone. Yes, Parag?
Hari Om Gautamji. Fulfilling an obligation, could that be also considered a desire? So an obligation that you don't believe in.
See, first of all, you must understand any action is preceded by a desire. The chronology of action is vasana. Vasana means unmanifest desires only. Thought, desire, action. This is the chronology. How can you act without a desire? So what Vedanta is saying is your action should be directed by a higher desire. You can't act without desire. That's what people believe. You people are talking about no desires. How can you act? How will you be motivated? First criticism comes. Vedanta is not saying that. It's all wrong understanding. Vedanta is saying not to act on selfish desires. Desire, you have to act. So when you pitch up a higher purpose beyond your selfish interest, any action you do to attain that becomes an obligatory duty. This is the actual obligation, not the obligation you people have a definition. You people, when I say the word, you're attached to my children, I have obligation. That is coming out of attachment, not obligation, because you feel good. So true obligation is what ought to be done for a selfless purpose. So it could even be serving your family. Yes, I've created this obligation. It ought to be done to serve them, not for what I get. Become selfless, right? So whether you like it or not is irrelevant. Whether it ought to be done is the question. So as you go along with this knowledge, the beauty is what you ought to do, you'll start liking to do also. The intellect is so strong. Whatever ought to be done is what you want to do. That's it. In fact, what you don't ought to do, you start disliking it in the sense I have nothing to do with it. Clear? Right. So before we end, a couple of things. One is, to the WhatsApp group we sent the remaining two articles that came out in Psychology Today. So I had a 3-part interview series. Has come out very well, very nicely. That interviewer has put the questions across. So it's good to read it as well as forward it to people, because it puts the knowledge across in a way they can understand. So if you're not part of that group, or you would like to be, just email us. Or you can just do a search for my name, Gautam Jain, and Psychology Today. You'll get it online. It's not a problem. But get on that group, because it gives you these useful information once in a while. And secondly, for those who were not there yesterday, I had announced about the retreat. Please let us know if you'd like to come, because we need to confirm accommodations with the venue. Read the email sent out to you. If there's any issue with the contributions, you can't afford it and all, feel free to reach out to us. Our whole goal is to make sure anybody interested is able to come. Okay? So it's important that you get away from your environment periodically to recharge, meet in person, and I think it's very important to do that. So if you're interested, you should definitely come. So any questions, we'll meet on Wednesday, otherwise over the weekend. Hari Om.